Mammals are mammals. You know, in the underworld, they don't go to hospitals. They come to me.
Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a cinematic narrative that completely blurs the line between human and animal medicine. It's called Mammals Are Mammals, The Descent of a Black Market Surgeon. And wow, it is a gripping look at how a quiet, totally unassuming veterinarian gets dragged headfirst into a gritty, high-stakes underworld. We're going to trace exactly how one single, fateful night completely rewrote this guy's life, step by terrifying step. So, let's get into it.
Section 1. The first surgery. A quiet clinic in chaos.
Picture this. It's the end of a grueling 12-hour shift. The clinic is bathed in this warm, safe glow. But then, in a matter of seconds, that peace just shatters. A desperate man literally forces his way through the rainy glass door, dragging a gunshot victim with him. Mud on the tile, water pooling everywhere, blood dripping onto the clean floor. That pristine sanctuary is completely violated. And listen, these guys do not care that they're just 4 blocks away from an actual human hospital. Naturally, the vet panics, right? He's telling them, look, I fix broken paws. I give rabies shots. He has absolutely zero human medicine and no human surgical training. But the gunman, he just delivers this incredibly chilling ultimatum. Fix him or join him. Talk about an absolute lack of choice. It's a literal life or death moment, forcing our vet to cross a boundary he never ever thought he'd cross.
So the crucial point here is how he adapts just to survive the night. Step 1, he has to calculate the dose of a horse tranquilizer. I mean, something strong enough to drop a 1,000-pound animal, but for a human man, just praying he doesn't stop the guy's heart. Step 2, he cleans the gunshot wound. And step 3, he stitches him up using heavy blue nylon that's meant for Great Danes. It's crude, it's terrifying, but miraculously, the patient actually lives. Moving on to section 2, a slippery slope. Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay, so the immediate danger passes, and the men vanish into the alleyway. But the psychological trap? Yeah, that has just been set. Because they didn't just leave a mess behind. They left $5,000 in cash tossed right onto the patient's chest. Now, part of him obviously wants to call the cops. But remember, these are highly dangerous men with cold, calculating eyes. They don't forget a face. Calling 911 might just create problems the police can't solve. So, he hides the money. But let's look at why he really keeps it. His clinic is struggling. He's desperately trying to save up for his daughter's college fund, but he's falling further and further behind every single month. When he looks at that past due tuition bill and then thinks of his daughter, how she hugs him, squeezing tight like she never wants to let go, well, suddenly that money stops looking like a crime. It starts looking like a lifeline.
Then, 3 nights later at 2 in the morning, the phone rings. Another patient, but this time double the pay. $10,000 for a neat, careful line of 47 stitches on a badly hurt woman. At this point, the stakes have officially doubled. The back door of the clinic starts staying unlocked on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you can guess what happens next. Word spreads in the underworld.
His reality completely fractures in two. By day, it's golden retrievers, Great Danes, and poodles. But by night, it's gunmen, crime lords, and people with eyes that are just way too cold. I mean, the guy starts using splint for Bernese mountain dogs on shattered human kneecaps. He's using chicken antibiotics for severe palm burns. It's wild.
To survive this massive cognitive dissonance, he builds a lie just to help himself sleep at night. He focuses on the construction worker who fell off a ladder and had no insurance, or the mother who burned herself cooking dinner. He actually convinces himself that he's serving regular people with regular problems. In his mind, he's doing good work, making money, and paying that tuition. Which brings us to section 3, the abduction, 2 a.m. on a Thursday.
Well, he gets way too comfortable. After finishing what he thinks is a super easy dislocated shoulder job, he collects his cash and casually walks out to his car. But he notices the black van parked in the corner just a second too late. 2 massive guys step out. A black bag is forcefully shoved over his head, and then just total darkness. Everything he thought he had under control vanishes in an absolute instant.
Section 4. Mammals Are Mammals, the high-tech suite.
When that bag finally comes off, his world has violently shifted. The warm clinic and those gritty alleyways, gone, replaced by a cold, blindingly white room. We're talking a massive, glass-walled medical suite packed with equipment that's more expensive than his entire clinic. And lying right there on the table, bleeding internally, is the man who essentially owns the city, the crime lord. Our vet is pleading, saying he can't do this, that this guy needs a real hospital.
But then, a man in a suit steps out of the shadows, pointing out this terrifying irony. He says, "You did that with horse pills and fishing wire in a clinic meant for poodles." Here, though, they have pristine tools and expert nurses. Why? Because real hospitals ask questions. And this criminal syndicate? Yeah, they do not like questions.
It's this incredible, twisted mirror image of his very first night. Step 1, instead of guessing dosage amounts, he's monitoring vitals on state-of-the-art screens. Step 2, an expert scrub nurse is literally anticipating his every move. And step 3, he's stitching up internal bleeding with perfectly precise surgical instruments. The justification they force on him is chillingly simple. This is just one more mammal.
By entirely stripping away the humanity of the situation, they force the vet to rely purely on his biological veterinary instincts. So he works for 2 grueling hours. He refuses to let the crime lord die on that table, mostly because he's just picturing his daughter's smile. And finally, the crime lord lives.
This leads us to the finale, Section 5, the final twist, better than expected. The surgery is a total success. Exhausted and completely hollowed out, the vet pulls off his gloves. He asks for a ride home, absolutely desperate to see his daughter and just forget this whole nightmare. The guy in the suit just replies, "Soon," and presses a button on the wall. Instantly, the glass walls turn an opaque white. The heavy door seals shut with a hiss. Our vet pushes against the glass, pounding his fists, but nobody comes.
Then the crime lord wakes up. He looks at the vet exactly the way a cat looks at a mouse and just points to the corner of the room. There's a neatly made bed, a small desk with a lamp, a stack of heavy medical textbooks. The crime lord tells him that a gift like his is totally wasted on house pets. He's been looking for someone exactly like him, calm under pressure, asks 0 questions. So this isn't a temporary gig, this is his new, permanent home.
The vet starts begging. He cries out that he has a life, a practice, a daughter who needs him for her graduation, for her wedding. And the crime lord just delivers this absolute devastation, with a smile. He says, she'll be taken care of. Best schools, nice home. She won't even notice you're gone. The one single thing that drove the vet to commit these crimes in the first place is now being used as the ultimate leverage to keep him locked away forever.
He looks at that locked door. He thinks back to the very first night, seeing that cash on the table. He thought he was making a choice, you know? He thought he was in control. I spent my whole life saving animals. Now, I've become one. He is literally a caged pet for the criminal underworld. It really forces you to look at your own life and ask, how easily could one small compromise, one decision made for all the right reasons, end up locking you in a cage of your own making? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.